Hello everyone, it's a pleasure today to discuss two functional models in software development: the waterfall model and the iterative model. Whether you are a project manager, a developer, or simply interested in software engineering, understanding the core concepts and the difference between those two approaches is beneficial for our work. In the next few minutes, I will talk you through a quick overview of those models and highlight their key distinctions. First, let's look at the waterfall model. This is one of the earliest software development models. As its name suggests, the entire process flows downward in direction like a cascade of water, with the distinction stated. As you can see from the diagram, the waterfall model divided the software lifecycle into a series of phases. It begins with the requirement collection and flex start date. Once the requirements are full defined and logged in, we move to the next phase, system design. After the design is completed, we proceed to coding or implementation. This is followed by a dedicated testing phase and finally installation or deployment and long-term maintenance. The core of the waterfall model is linear and natural. Each phase must be fully completed before the next one begins, and in practice, you can't go back to the previous phases. The advantage of this model is that it's simple to manage and the objectives for each stage are very clear. However, its biggest drawback stems from this same radical it flexibility. If a problem with the requirements or designer is discovered later in the process, the cost of going back to fix it can be high. Now let's turn to more adaptive approach, the iterative model. Unlike the waterfall model or nothing process, this model builds software through a series of repeated cycles and enhancements. From this slide we can see this is the inter-development process is broken down into smaller and self-loops which we call iteration. Each iteration functional like a mini project going through a full development cycle. That include planning, requirements analysis, design, implementation, development, testing, and evaluation. Uh, with each iteration, a new functional process of the software is divided. The incremental building up the product, for example, from version 1 to version 2 and then to version 3. The key advantage of this model is that its flexibility and ability to manage risks. It allows for feedback and adjustments throughout the development process, making it much better at handling changing requirements and ensure the final product truly meets users' needs. The RAD model of Python here is also a reflection of this iteration idea, using prototyping to the development and feedback loop. So, what are the most difference between those two models? Repetition of activity. In the waterfall model, each development activity, like design or testing, is performed only once during the entire project life cycle. In the iterative model, those activities are repeated during each iteration cycle. Corporate guiding the waterfall model is designed to guide the entire development process from a high-level perspective. In the iterative model, focus more on guiding the development activities within each individual iteration. To put it simple, the waterfall model is about planning everything at once and executing in sequence, while the iterative model is about implementing in stage and improve. In summary, the waterfall and iterative model represent two distinct in-software development. The waterfall model is best suited for projects where its requirements are suitable and can be followed defined at the very beginning. On the other hand, the iterative incremental model is far more suitable for the vast magical of today's software projects, where requests are complex, subjected to change, and require a repeated response to market feedback. The choice of which model to use depends on the nature of your project. I hope today's present help you make a more informed distinction in your future. So that's all. Thank you for listening.